Hey, you're listening to Smoke Meat. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Smoke Meat's brought to you today by Joe's Underground at the corner of 8th and Broad in Augusta, Georgia, in the bottom of the Lamar building. Great place to go. They make you feel like family every time you go in there, from the first time to the last time. And hopefully there's not a last time. Jeremy and the gang are so wonderful. Great food, great drinks, great people. Just remember always, I goes to Joe's and so should you. That's Joe's Underground, the corner of 8th and Broad in Augusta, Georgia, in the bottom of the Lamar building. Today my guest is Mr. Twizm Whyte Piece. He is a rapper, entertainer, just extraordinaire. He's an all-around good guy. We had a great time talking. We still talk after this thing's done. Made a really good friend, and I'm sure y'all are going to love him. So y'all check him out. Here we go on Smoked Meat. Hey, so how's it going today, Twizm?
Well, my man, how are you?
Doing good, man. If I was any better, I'd be twins. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so what's been popping lately?
Nothing, man. Just trying to deal with the COVID and lockdowns and the unlocking of lockdowns and figuring out what's next after the lockdown, and pretty much just lockdown.
I can dig it, man. I can dig it. That's one good thing. Here in Georgia, we're not locked down as tight, but, you know, everybody's wearing them, or supposed to be wearing their masks. And
Yeah. Well, we finally hit stage 3 over here, so.
Man, oh man. I'm so tired of this thing. It is wearing all of us out, man.
Yeah.
If people would just do like they're supposed to and pretty much do what you learned in kindergarten, you know, don't touch each other, stay away from each
Don't
other.
sneeze on each other. Yeah, right.
Wash your damn hands, you know. Just do what you need to. This will be done. But oh, hell no. People just want to complain, so.
You know, if we would learn from history, we would learn that precaution is the way to go with this one, because in every other one, it's just been no studies, no science behind it, no nothing. And it was, in some cases, like the Spanish flu, it was life-changing, changed the world forever. So I think this one's done the same, but I think it's done it in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny, you know, I'm aching to get back on stage and perform some, and you know,
Tell me about it.
a lot of artists, you know, can't, and we're actually opening up some of the comedy venues here in Atlanta, and I'm just not doing it. I'm not ready for that.
I have too many kids, so I mean,
Yeah.
I can't take chances, right?
Yeah, you're talking to the man that's living in his basement / studio right now to stay away from my wife and kids as much as I can because of this stuff. So.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe
Yeah.
it. But that's smart on your behalf, right? You value life, and that's always to be commended and never to be disrespected. So.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff ain't no joke. I've seen it take young people, old people, you know, healthy people, sick people. It don't discriminate. Anybody that says, "Oh, I can live through it," you may be able to, but the person you fixing to give it to can't. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, oh man. But yeah, you know, one good thing, a lot of creativity's coming out of this. A lot of people thinking outside the box. Because, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
arena shows and hell, live venues in general right now are gone. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, look at what Scott Page and Think is doing. You know, they're doing the online
Yeah.
shows, and you know, we got.
Yeah, they're amazing. Scott Page, that guy's got a mind. He's creative mind. He's very creative mind.
Man, he was my 100th episode. I'm actually posting
nice.
it this afternoon.
You know what? It's not to say like an idolize or anything, but that guy, I just hope that I can have such the amazing career, the lifestyle that guy's had, because man, he's lived it all, done it all, seen it all. You know what I mean? And that's what life's about, man. Life's about experiencing as much as you can. And well, I tell you what, Scotty Page he's an icon when it comes to that.
Man, he sucks up every minute of the day. And I mean, man.
Well deserved, though. Well deserved, right?
Yeah.
Well deserved.
And it's funny, when I first started, you know, working with Eileen and Jimmy, you know, she sent me a link, and it was to a Zoom meeting, and put Scott Page concert tonight. And I didn't know who he was going to be with or what he was even going to be doing, but if somebody sends you a link to a Scott Page concert, you click on that. That's just the way it goes.
You gotta go, right?
Yeah. And I had a really, really shitty 3 days at work. I mean, all 3 days were just boom, just horrible, bad things happening all day. And I got home and I clicked on it, and I look on here. Here's Scott with his horn. Here's freaking Kenny Olson on guitar, Stephen Perkins, Norwood Fisher. I'm like, holy shit, what have I gotten into?
Yeah,
It's
man.
like,
Yeah,
man.
man.
And they're putting things together like that, and it's helping people out
See,
during this crap.
See, you're looking at it from the fan viewpoint, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Because everybody should be a fan of Scotty Page. In fact, everybody should be a fan of Think Experience all the way around. But
Yeah.
my thing is I look at everything from multiple angles. Obviously because I am an artist, I am a fan, and I'm a radio station. So when I look at Scott Page and I see, my creative process starts churning, starts burning, and I see so many opportunities for collaboration, for unique opportunities, just all these different things, right? And it's like, if I ever work up the guts one day, I'm gonna approach him and be like, what, buddy, I've got an idea I'd like to pitch you. But I tell you what, man, it's the uniqueness in the way that they always keep moving, right? The whole group, all of them. They always keep moving. They keep their feet just into something, hands always into something. And that, my friend, that's how you got to get it done, right?
Yeah.
You can't just expect anything. You got to work for it. You got to always be here, there, moving, grooving, all in that yard. Those guys, they're such great examples of what the musical world and what a talent should carry themselves like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing about Scotty, you talk about wanting to work up the guts. Man, with Scotty, all you got to do is call him and say, hey, man, I got an idea. And he will, man, he's wide open. He's just so approachable.
I know.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Some of us got to work up the nerve to talk to celebrities and superstars like that.
Oh, man, I tell you, it's wild. He is so open and new ideas. I mean, I thought, okay, we're going to get on here and we're going to talk about Think a little bit. We may talk a little bit about Pink Floyd and all this. And man, by the time it was over, my brain was going 9,000 miles an hour just trying to keep up.
Yeah, man.
And it was so awesome.
Yeah, man.
I think we ended the episode by wondering what kind of world we were going to leave for Keith Richards and Betty White.
Those two, they're never dying. I tell you what, there's something in the water for them.
Them
they
two
got
get
the right
sick.
kind of a vino or something.
Oh man, if those two ever get sick from this stuff, I'm just going to go on ahead and end it. Because there's no hope.
What's the point after that, right? What's the point after that?
Yeah, there's no hope, man.
No more Betty White. I can't live with her.
Oh man. Oh, she's so awesome.
Yeah,
she is so awesome. I love Betty. But yeah, that would be a dream interview.
Most favorite role I have, I think, is Lake Placid. She absolutely, I loved her in Lake Placid. It was just so great.
Yeah. She's so funny. I love her, man, and it just acts so innocent and just boom.
Yeah. And to be such a little devil at the heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I tell you, man, that's one thing I love about this show is I'm getting to speak to so many different people that before I never would have, had a chance to talk to.
Even dreamed about it. And
I'm glad I do mine the way that I do. I don't get on and say, "So, Mr. Whyte Piece, tell me all about your new album." I don't do that radio voice stuff that everybody's heard a million times.
I do. I can't lie. I do that when I'm live on the air. Like if I'm doing a live show on the radio,
everybody does
my radio voice. Yeah, but when I do interviews, I actually just kind of do like the whole normal talk it out kind of thing, like me and you are doing right now. Right? Yeah. This would be exactly how I would run an interview. I find it's more normal. It's more real.
Yeah,
this lifelike.
This is what people want to hear. Fred Schneider from the B-52s. He was one of my first interviews when I got with Jimmy and Eileen.
Right.
And when I was getting ready for it, I wrote like 3 pages worth of notes because growing up I was a huge fan. Yeah. I got him on the phone, and he's such a nice guy. And I started asking questions. I think I asked him something about Rock Lobster, And he said, that's 40 years worth of history. They can read about that in the books. Let's talk about something else. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
shit, there's 3 pages of notes
Throw
are
the
gone.
notes away. Yeah. Throw the notes away and everything.
And
Right. Yeah.
that interview taught me so much because I had to kind of just jump on the fly. And we still had a great interview. It was a great, it was a lot
Yeah.
shorter
Oh,
than I
yeah.
thought it would be, but it was still great.
Well,
And
you know.
it taught me a lot because, as an interviewer, while I've only asked this question once, you may have answered it 500 times in the last month.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
for
And
me,
some people don't like talking about the same thing. Like,
yeah,
I've got a fair amount of different interviews, and each of them are different. I don't like to talk about the same thing or do the same thing. If you want to hear that information, you can go watch a different interview, right? I mean,
yeah,
each show should be unique. Each individual interview should be unique. Each memory that you're making with somebody should be unique.
exactly. I don't feel like I'm doing interviews. I feel like I'm just making friends and everybody's listening to it.
Yeah, man. Growing, networking, and building. I mean, this is not only the key to a functioning business or relationship. This is just the key to life.
Yeah,
Key to
exactly,
life.
exactly. And I know we've got some business to do because I know you got an album that's coming out, and we'll,
Yeah,
we'll
I
get to
do.
that thing because I really want to promote it. Broken Smile,
Yeah,
baby.
I'm super excited about it, but at the same time, I'm kind of fearful about it. So we'll get into that a little bit later.
Cool. Very, very cool. Oh man, so a question I ask a lot of people that are on my show. The name of it is smoked meat, and I do a lot of cooking. Matter of fact, I made jerky last week for my family, and
Lucky, nice. Okay, good. I
if,
love jerky. Jerky is like one of my top favorite foods. So.
oh dude, I'm gonna have to hook you up. You come to Georgia.
Oh man, just trust me. I will cash in on that one right there.
Oh yeah, I tell all my guests, man, you come to Georgia, get near Atlanta, you are fed. That's a given. You
Nice,
keep this number, and
nice.
that's not a hollow invite. That's get your ass down to Atlanta and get something to eat.
Yeah, I know. See, I lived a lot of my life in the South, in the Midwest of the South, and I'm gonna tell you, man, like that's the general mentality. If you hungry, come on and eat. You know what I
Dude,
mean? So,
exactly. I've got a good friend of mine. They started doing a thing called Meat in my hometown
okay,
of Thompson, and they've got
okay,
another one coming up next weekend. I'm working, or I would go to it. But everybody donates food. He works for a place where they send meat all over the country, and he'll bring briskets and chickens and all kind of stuff that the company donates to it. And
huh?
basically, it's a big ass cookout for the whole community. Just to get everybody together. White, black, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just come and
Just
enjoy
share
being
community.
people, and it works so great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
when I was a kid, my grandma and grandpa, I lived with them a fair amount of time, and they always had this thing that we go to. It was it was a catfish, like a catfish cook fry or fish fry or something like
mm-hmm.
that. And they always had catfish, right? But
Oh
it'd
yeah,
be this long row, table full, man, table full with corn, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, catfish. There'd be other kinds of fish. There'd be other kinds of meat, but I mean, the primary was like these big
oh yeah.
catfish that are just fried up. And I don't know. My grandma and grandfather, they were really, really big into that kind of thing. And even though we didn't really live in a community type area, like they made it a point to do community type stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I think that's what everybody needs. Just we all need to just sit down and get together and share a meal together. I mean, because you can't be
I think
mad
the
at somebody
problem,
while you're eating with them.
yeah, the problem is now there's just so much division about it. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't even sit down and eat a meal now. People, oh man, you're too close, or you're too far, or you something. There's gonna be something, man. Yeah, it's just what happened. The world lost their backbone or something. I don't know.
yep, big time. And it's funny, a lot of it is. I hate to sound on a soapbox and preachy and all, but a lot of it is media. Because
Yeah.
during
Oh yeah.
during the
Oh yeah.
riots, I'm gonna go ahead and say what happened to cause everything was horrible. There's no justification, period.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
the news was showing just all these riots everywhere. Like I say, I'm 20 miles south of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of things that weekend that could have went south. I mean, I was on the truck for 2 days just south of Atlanta. We could have had a lot of bad
Yeah,
things happening, and we were ready for it.
yeah,
But everybody behaved. Everybody said their piece and got along. 99% of the people did. But the news won't
yeah.
show that. The news just shows
Well,
everybody, okay, let's throw this brick now. Okay, 3, 2, boom.
yeah.
And
See, so during all of this, right? You got Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams and everything else that's constantly flooded, just absolutely flooded
yeah,
with images, videos, posts, the whole 9 yards. So
yeah,
you know what I do? I just get off. I won't even get on because I realize one, it's 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 out of control,
yeah.
right? It's not. You're trying to fight something that can't even be fought because you don't even know where it's coming from. I mean, somebody can Photoshop a
Oh,
picture,
hang on just
make
a second.
a fake account,
Hang on just a
and
second.
and
Hang on
oh,
just a
sorry,
second.
you know it. You don't have to, you know, be a part of that. Just because social media is bad, and there's a lot of fake news out there. There's a lot of negativity out there. Doesn't mean that you yourself and your timeline have to be a part of that. So, like when I see people start sharing all this stuff, right? I see, everything start to become overwhelmed. I'll take time away, and I won't even get on, and I'll enjoy my life. I mean, because it's not to take away from anything that's going on in the world, but at the same time, I'm stuck all the way out here with limited ability to do anything other than use my voice or my image or name or my who I am to try to influence what I deem to be the proper way to do life. And
Yeah,
how is me contaminating social media with either A, what everybody else is already posting, or B, what is considered fake news because I just created something to post. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I don't really get into all of that. I mean, I guess I believe in pure of heart, pure of mind, pure life, right?
yeah,
If you take in negativity and ignorance and stupidity, then that's what you're going to digest and that's what you're going to put out.
yeah,
So why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want better stuff in you? You know what I mean? So
yeah. I can dig it, man. I can dig it. Yeah, I've got to where I don't look at a lot of stuff because, like I say, I'm just tired of it. You look
yeah,
at my Facebook page, it tells about my show, and it's just stupid, funny little pictures, stuff like that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
my Twitter and
Mine,
everything's the same way.
yeah, mine's either family, like either me and my stuff we do with my family, or if I've got any kind of musical news to share, or if I'm doing an interview or something, I'm very selective, right? Like I'm selective about what I do, selective about who I interview. I'm selective because nowadays everybody's somebody, and yet no, everybody's nobody, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like we live in a world now where everybody's famous or nobody's famous.
yeah,
And I don't believe that to be true because, my career, my work and stuff has spanned multiple years before the social media sensations and YouTube sensations and things like that. I was doing shows and I was making CDs, you know what I mean?
oh yeah,
And we were standing in parking lots and things like this with where there was even the thought of, you know, digitally broadcasting yourself over Facebook. Facebook wasn't even set up for that type of stuff back then, right?
yeah,
So I mean, you know, I guess I just, as much as I am a victim of being in the entertainment business, I
mm,
don't believe that we have to use media negatively. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't agree with it. That's all.
yeah. I can dig it. And you talk about you've been there and done this. Like say, standing out in parking lots and making CD, dude. That was work. I mean, that wasn't no joke. That was
Oh,
we got to
oh,
do this or we gonna
a
be
lot more
hungry.
work than it is now. A
Yeah,
lot more work than it is now.
yeah,
Cracks me up how I get on here and I see people. They say, "Oh, you know, I can't do this or I can't do that." Or how do you not be able to do something in today's world when everything is do it yourself, learn yourself, teach yourself?
yeah,
I mean, I come from a time era where, and I got to give, this is one of those moments where you got to give a shout out to somebody because they had a major influence in your life. So I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to give a shout out to a guy named Jerry Wilson. This is one of those times where, you know, the guy comes in and he absolutely allows you to be who you are. And by doing that, it shows you inside that you have the potential to not look at yourself and say, man, I can't do that. If I need a beat made, I'm going to make it myself now. Or if I'll find somebody who makes them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's always a way to get whatever you need done now. And where I come from, we didn't have that. If you needed a beat, you had to know somebody. You couldn't just get a beat offline. You couldn't just go to YouTube and copy and paste or something like this. You had to actually know somebody. Recording in itself was the hardest thing to get done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, that old 2-inch tape.
So many things, man.
And that crap wasn't cheap, man. That 2-inch tape was expensive as hell.
And if you try to do it yourself, then you better know what you're doing, because there was none of this, let me just delete this part right here and fill it in. You had to redo the entire thing. The entire thing. If you didn't get it right, you had to redo the entire thing. And we're talking about, you just spent 2 hours trying to get that part right and then messed this part up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And it's funny, you know, back then, the equipment, dude, if you knew somebody that had a damn SM58 mic, they were big shit. They had money.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm not necessarily back in those days, but the board, definitely a board. Definitely a board.
And
I come from the board days where if you didn't have a board, then you weren't recording. You know what I mean?
And this board I'm using now, man, I paid $400 for it. It's made by Zoom. It's called an L8. This thing, when I had my old board, I had to do a mix minus to do the phone calls, which is a bunch of stuff with cables. It's a pain in the ass if anybody don't know.
Yeah.
This one, when you called me, what'd I do? I walked over and plugged my phone in. Boom.
I was just saying it was about a 2-minute thing.
Yeah. I mean, I can record. I can take this board without a laptop or anything, and I can take it out into a field. It runs off of batteries or a battery pack, and I can record a live concert, like guitars, drums, everything, off this board and edit on the board. It's so cool, and it's $400. Look at back in the day. I mean, shit.
Would have been 4,000.
Yeah, I mean,
40,000.
The mic I'm using, I'll put it up against anything I ever had on the radio, and it's a $99 mic by a company called Rode. You know, it's got the shock mount built in, it's got the pop filter built in, and I love this thing. And just
I tell you something, man. I got a mic. It's my mic is, let's see, 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My mic is 8 years old. And I'm going to tell you something. I will not buy another one. I will not change it. I love this mic. like it is an obsession. This mic is my Midas touch. You know what I mean? Like, I had plenty of other mics and they were all garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I got this mic, and the moment I got this mic, that from then on I never had another problem making, you know, and you know, you got to have quality stuff to make quality product, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter what the price is. It's just got to be quality.
Yeah. And it's just amazing that what we can do now. I remember when I started in radio, to do a commercial, we had to do it on reel-to-reel, and just the editing alone, it took me all day to make it a good spot. Now I can sit here in 5 minutes and it's done.
Yeah. It kind of takes the fun. You know, really, to be honest with you, and people might disagree with me on this, but I feel like it's taken out the soul. It's took away the soul of the product that people are putting out now.
Yeah.
See, before, when a band or an artist was coming out with an album, you knew that there was countless hours that went into it. You knew that this was something that this person had been working on for just forever. Okay? Now, I mean, unless you're a Taylor Swift or somebody like that, you know, that people don't look forward to anticipation with people's product anymore.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because people are putting out stuff every 5 minutes. Oh, I just released this. You know, and I might be a little guilty of this myself. I can't lie. Because when I wasn't on digital platforms and I wasn't on social media, I wasn't as quickly making music,
Yeah.
right? I wasn't as quickly putting out things. However, though, in the media world, when you're starting to become digital and you start getting into this world, you realize that it's a high-paced, fast world. Well, okay, I can understand that. I can deal with that. So I started doing the same thing. I started putting out more product a little bit faster, a little bit, not waiting so long between releases, because if you don't keep the buzz going nowadays, then you lose your buzz, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's easier to keep new stuff happening all the time than it is to constantly kind of keep the buzz going about one thing, right? So, I'm guilty of it myself, but you got to pay to play type of thing. This is what it takes to be in this world. You got to be creative. You got to be able to put your product out, quality product, in an efficient manner. People
Yeah.
are discovering new stuff by the thousands every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. And I've when I first started this, if I recorded 4 episodes in a day, I would drop all 4
yeah,
of them.
yeah,
Dude. And now
yep,
I've gotten a
yeah,
lot better. I'm pacing myself and putting out maybe about 3 or 4 a week. But at the same time, like I say, I'll hit the Apple charts. And last week I was at 152, which was awesome. Because look how many
I've
shows
seen
there
that.
are.
I think I even hit the like on that little post. I was like, yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of.
Yeah. And the next day, off the charts. Not on them anymore. It's
Yeah,
like that quick. It's
yeah,
like, really, I got to start putting stuff out again. And, it is
yeah.
what
Well,
it
and
is.
see, here's the thing. You're competing in a world that's heavily polluted.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. Yep. I'm
I
ready for
read
the Joe
something the other
Rogan
day.
numbers.
Yeah, tell me about it. Aren't
If
we all?
if you happen to know
Dude, I'm
anyone
ready
with
for the
a
Drake numbers.
if you
I'm
have
ready for the Drake numbers.
hell yeah. If you happen to know anyone with an extra $100 million to get rid of,
Yeah, hey, you
I will
feel me?
be on their network. Period. Forever. But he's earned that. I joke about it, but he's earned it, man. He's been balls to the wall since the start, and he is the prototype.
Well, I mean, I dig it. But
I'm jealous, but I dig it.
yeah, yeah. That's it might be a little jealousy on my part. I mean, I guess maybe I am jealous of people who have success and I don't. And that's I'm human. I'm guilty. I
Oh,
can't lie. I can only look at what they have and say, what would I do with this? You know what I mean? This is what I would do, or this is what I think I'd do, or at least in some situations, this is what I'd hope I'd do. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But the reality of a situation is that's a very stressful life, man.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you look at life like that, then you're always gonna be messed up, man. And I find especially, and I say this kind of biasly, but I say especially as a white rapper, man, you have to really be, man, you got to be strong because everybody thinks that you're trying to be Eminem, and no offense to him, he's great lyricist and all, just not the greatest person. And so when I see him in his success, or I see other white rappers with success, I do get a little envious. I can't lie, because I've been busting my butt for a long time, and I know my style is different. I know my image is unique, and I know my background story is crazy as all get out. But does that make me any less qualified, or does that make me any less worthy, or anything like that? No, I don't feel like that. So yeah, I can't lie and say I don't get a little heated when I see, I see a little success that I feel shit come my way. Somebody gets signed to a $5 million deal, I get like, whoa, I've been out here for years. How come I ain't no $5 million deal?
Oh,
I mean,
dude, try being a comedian. I'll be sitting and watching something on TV, and I'm like, that's not even
not even
close to
funny.
How the hell am I not on
Right?
TV? And these people
Exactly.
just, God bless them. Like I say, you can get that deal, man. Jump on it, but.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
But I'm happy being the artist that I am, though. I've never done it all for the money, and
Well, I mean, I'm happy being an artist.
I will
that
take
I
the
am too.
pay.
I mean,
I will
yeah,
take the
and see,
money.
that's what it's at. Right? Yeah, that's what it's at. I mean, I entered into this game with the idea that one day I was going to have money to do life the way I wanted to, money to be able to take care of the people that I wanted to, money to be able to fix and resolve and correct and help build. And you know, I'm a good kind of guy, man. I'm a good
Yeah.
kind of guy. I'm not a bad guy. I mean, I used to be a really bad guy, but that's why I'm a good guy now, because I've seen how bad life really is. I've seen the bottom of the bottom. You know, when you see evil at its ugliest and it's at its worst, true face is what we call that. When you see evil at its truest face, you try to get as far away from it as you can,
Yeah.
because you realize how bad that really is, and you know, all of a sudden, you know, you're like, wow, I've been this way, or I've done these things, and I got to change. You know what I mean? I got to change because I want to be better, or I've got a reason, or somebody else wants me to be better, whatever the reason may be. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, maybe if I hadn't changed so much and become a better person, then maybe I might have got that $5 million deal. But you know, that, like I told you, that life, when you think like that, it sucks, man. Right?
Yeah.
It's heavy on the mind, heavy on the heart. You start treating your family bad. You start treating your friends bad. You start failing at your responsibilities, things like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, my advice is to people, man, if you're gonna go at anything, whether it's comedy, whether it's podcasting, whether it's a hip hop artist, whether it's, you know, just trying to do your own business, whatever that business may be, you really got to be strong, man. Don't come into this game weak.
Yeah, it'll chew you up and spit you out. Anything you go into
Man,
weak,
does it ever? Does it
man,
ever?
it'll
With
hurt
no
your
rhyme or
feelings
reason either,
fast.
bro. With no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
You know, I've had the closest of people that I've rocked it with for so long turn on me in a heartbeat, just because of a better business opportunity, or because of a potential financial situation that they knew was going to be fake, and it still blew up in their face. But they'd rather chase that dream than to, you know, work on the dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I see it a lot with different comics. You know, who, you know, I get young comics that'll come up to me a lot and say, "Man, what advice can you give me? Can you help me with this?" And I'm always happy to, because it ain't a competition. You know, if they're successful, don't mean I'm not gonna be. And I see so many that won't do that, and that just, man, I hate that crap. You know,
But you know,
you got talent, share it.
I am all for sharing of the talent, but
Yeah.
you know, once again, and maybe it's because I've been around the block and I've been beat in the back of the head with a couple of entertainment life's 2x4s. But I'll tell you this much, man. You know, not everybody's meant to be. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You gotta choose your circles, because you know what you. I do believe in sharing your talent. I do believe in looking out for the smaller people. I'm all for giving back. You know what I mean? Pass it forward, all of that kind of stuff. But if you do it for every single, you know, Jane and John, then you're going to put yourself in a situation.
Oh yeah.
And I find that some of my biggest mistakes was because I didn't say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so now I've you know, now I'm what people call a little bit more of an asshole, because, you know, now I'm solid in my decision making. I don't associate with those that I don't have anything to do with or don't want to associate with, for one. You know, styles, images, points of view. I mean, that's a big one. You know, I know everybody's like, oh man, you're supposed to. No, I have respect for everybody. Okay, but I'm not going to sit in a circle full of people who all are different opinion than me and just act like I'm part of them. That's just not. That doesn't. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go sit next to bad example here, but I wouldn't sit next to Trump and be like, hey, you're my best friend. You know what I mean? It's just, that's not who I am. But, you know, I would sit with an upcoming artist who I see really putting their effort into, and, you know, they're trying, and they've got the right idea and the right personality. Yeah, I'd be all for helping them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm talking about. You know, like I say, not everybody, because you can't do it for everyone. But like I say, I've got a couple of people who I believe in, and they, you know, they're doing good. And you know, it's when, like I say, when the tables turn or people start seeing you do better. I hate when somebody tries to latch on. Then I believe in the people who were there when I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Because they're not about the money. They're not about all this. You know, and.
Well, and see, you know, here's another one of those moments where you got to give a shout out to people, okay?
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going to shout out Jimmy and Ivy, all right? Because, you know, I've known them off and on for a few years now.
Yeah.
And, there was absolutely no reason whatsoever for Jimmy to even pay attention to me, to even acknowledge that I existed in life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this man, from the very moment, has treated me with absolute respect. Okay. Has not treated me like just some guy trying to be something I'm not, who actually listened to my music, who actually understood who I was, where I was coming from, learned my backstory. Okay. And on top of all that, still calls me a friend.
Yeah.
And still believes in what I'm trying to do and still supports what I'm trying to do. One of the very few, okay? And of course, by effect, that means Eileen as well. She's an absolute doll. But we're talking about the quality of character here.
Yeah.
You understand? And so once you find people like that, once you get in a mix of people like that, you realize that you don't want to be around everybody else. You don't want to be around those who fill your head with a bunch of lies. You don't want to be around those whose words and actions don't match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I could give you 100 more, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But,
Yeah, and it's funny. I used to work with somebody who, well, I say work with them, we had a little bit of a relationship, not much business thing, And my show started growing, and
yeah.
all of a sudden this person came to me and was like, if you get a really big sponsor, then we can make a lot of money off this thing. I'll take 20% and you do 80%. And I'm like, no. I'm the only one down here doing this show. And
and see that's the frustrating thing.
Yeah.
Somebody's always got their hands out, right?
Yeah. And I don't make money off this thing. I've got one sponsor, and he's the guy that bought my first round of equipment at a place called Joe's Underground in Augusta, Georgia.
Nice.
And
nice.
He believed in me from the beginning. And because of that, in my intro on every show, I do about 30 seconds for Joe's, if not more, because they were great, and they still are.
Yep.
And, I think I've made a total of $52 off this thing, and I turned around and I bought 2 copies of Kenny Wilkerson's book, The Rockin' Recipes for Autism, with that, so I can give it away.
Nice.
So
nice.
I do this to
cool.
I do this to wind down. I do this because I love talking to people and meeting new people.
Well, I'm a world changer. I have the idea that one day I'm gonna get blessed with some kind of success and what we call fame, to be able to leverage my name and my image and my fame for others. There's so many people out here in the world that are suffering. There's so many people that need help, and yet there's so many celebrities who just pretend, and I don't mean to be a drama starter, and in no way am I trying to drama start. I'm merely saying that others in my profession, other white rappers in my profession, could be doing more actively in the world, especially with the amount of money, fame, and success that they have. They could be helping out so many people around the world. They could be changing lives for so many people. And at what point do you have enough money? I mean, me personally, I don't need, if I'm worth $45 million, that's great. I'll be happy being worth $45 million, but that doesn't mean I need to have $45 million. I'd be cool with just honestly, man, I'd just be happy with being able to have the normal kind of life that I have envisioned in my head, and still being able to do for others, because that's been done for me.
Yeah,
like I said, I'm very big into karma. The way you carry yourself, the way you act, it will come back to bite you in the ass. You know what I mean? So
yeah. All I want, if I ever got big and rich, me and my wife would like to buy a place up in the mountains. Nothing fancy, nothing near a tourist thing, just some land.
Yeah.
Put a little place on it to retire. Pay off our bills now, where all we've got is the normal monthly things. I would still record right here where I'm at on this same equipment. The only thing I would change down here.
And wouldn't change is just the scenery.
Yeah, the only thing I would change down here is I would get a comfortable chair, because this chair I'm sitting in is garbage.
Oh man, this couch! Let me tell you, this couch it kind of bends in the middle, so you sink into the middle, right? It just frustrates me. Yeah,
man.
But you know what? It's my couch. I've used it for so long, and made memories with it. So it is what it is.
That's it. And by
I'll
the way,
tell you what, man.
And by the way, you've already gotten big and famous and huge because you're on the Smoke Meat podcast. So, oh yeah, well,
You did.
welcome to the
You
club.
did. Right, right. No, I mean, we
Look,
all have, we all have an idea of our own success,
oh
right?
yeah,
Everybody's like, okay, when I'll know that I've reached success when I see it like this in my head. Of course, everybody around you is like, man, you're so wonderful, you're so amazing, you this. And you're like, oh, okay, well, if I really was, well, how come I'm not here? How come I don't do this? How come I ain't got that? And that's, once again, man, that's that purity of mind, man. You got to be able to shake that stuff off, man.
yeah.
And you got to be able to focus on your goal. You know what I mean? The moment you start thinking about other things other than what you're trying to get done is the moment you're wasting time,
Yeah, and
And life isn't about wasting time.
I think that's one reason why I don't have a lot of sponsors on here is I just to me if I make this into a business, it's not going to be fun anymore.
Well, and I kind of fell into that. I'm not going to lie, man. Last year, I had probably, if not the second, you know what? I wouldn't, if it's not the most profitable, it was the second most profitable year of my life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not just talking, a couple hundred. We're actually talking some monetary value last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it came at the hands of business connections and networking that I was doing last year.
Yeah.
And I fell victim to that very same thing where it was no longer my business and my fun and my way of doing things. It became having to do it somebody else's way, and it became having to be what that person wanted when they wanted how they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie and say that money is great, but not all money's good money.
My wife said that the other day in exact words.
Yeah, man. It's a real concept, man. I would rather, I guess I don't want to say it like this. I guess I'd rather be broke and true to myself and have respect from the people who know me than to have millions of dollars and be laughed at and joked at and hated on. I mean, because you lose a sense of your soul.
Yeah.
When you start making money, especially when you start making that kind of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you've got to be willing to give in and bend a little bit on things that you said you might never give in and bend on,
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'd rather not jeopardize my morals and beliefs, because people know me as being a respectable, quality kind of person. And if money's going to change that in me, well, I don't know if I want it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I want my kids to have a life and success, but, we can also work for that. We're not above working.
Yeah. Oh man, well I tell you, I've had a ball on here with you today, and you're on here anytime you want to be. You've seen how fast I can get this thing going.
Oh man, I appreciate you, man. And that means a lot when somebody says that to you, because to take time out of people's day to spend with somebody else, that means you either got to vibe with that person, or you got to have respect for that person, or you just don't do that for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that, because I know what that means, right?
Yeah, man. Like I say, any time when you get down here to Atlanta, like I say, you fed. That ain't no joke. That's my wife tells me all the time. If all these people that you invite to the house to eat ever come, you're gonna do nothing but cook. I said, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we be full up.
Hell yeah, more the merrier, man. Daddy loves to cook.
Man, hey, you know what though? I mean, that's I've come to appreciate food more. So I got locked down for a while, and when I say a while, I mean like a long while, to the point where you forget what food tastes like. You forget what your favorite food tastes like. You know what I mean? And you start watching them commercials, being like, one day I'm gonna come back to you, you big sexy triple quarter pounder burger. You know what I mean? So I've been locked down a fair amount of days and years in my life that I can not successfully, that I can honestly and truthfully say that I appreciate food now in all of its forms. And I even try different things. Things I never thought I would try before.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, well tell everybody where we can get a hold of you and where we can hear you and all. I want all my listeners to be in the Twizm Whyte Piece business.
Well, I mean, and in today's world, it's just wherever you're listening at. A lot of people will start rambling through a bunch of links and stuff, and I think that gets pretty confusing, man.
Yeah.
Let's just put it like this: whatever platform you use, it doesn't matter what it is. just type in Twizm Whyte Piece, TWIZM WHYTEPIECE, and you'll find multiple things from me. I mean, I'm doing this so many years that, like I said, I was doing this before digital distribution came out. So I have things that are on like YouTube that don't even exist on my digital platform because, you know, that was the spot you put things to back in the day, right?
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
but yeah, man, I appreciate everybody who goes and checks out anything of mine. I mean, you know, I live the world one fan at a time. So
Yeah. See, I'd rather have 10 people that like me than 100,000 people that just tolerate me.
exactly. That's see, I'm doing so. I've got this little webisode podcast getting ready to pop off where, you know, a lot of people want to know my background, but they want to know not just the, you know, the straightforward what you can read on the website stuff. They want to know the behind the scenes of it, right?
Yeah.
So we've been, me and my kids and my wife and everything, we've been putting together a couple of these little videos and whatnot. So we're getting ready to release some of these things that, you know, talk about other things, you know, because today's world rotates in so many different directions, man. It is, it's amazing how all I ever wanted to be was a performing artist, meaning I got up on stage to perform.
Yep.
And, you know, now after I have 164 shows, and I wouldn't have been able to do 164 shows if I wasn't able to also be, besides a performing artist, a radio station owner, a video person, an interview host, a promoter, a producer for sound engineer or whatever. You know, I've had to bargain my way and what I'll call network my way through this entire game. You know,
Yeah.
it's wild, man. It's wild. To be able to say, you know, look, I've got all these streams. I'm on all these digital platforms. You can watch this newest video coming out, newest website. That's just somewhere I never thought I'd be, bro.
Mm-hmm. Well, man, we're glad you are, brother. We're glad
Yeah,
you are.
man. I tell you, man.
Yep.
I like to believe that the world, you know, especially hip hop, needs a saving, you know, like a hero. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe the world don't need a hero.
Oh, it needs a hero. It just don't know the one it needs yet, but it needs one. Oh yeah.